Good morning, everybody. Well, we're back, and we're live, and we've got Stu Stewart back, by the way. He's on vacation for a few days. He's back in the studio now, so we're fully staffed. We got Nancy Stewart, Rick Kearney, and myself, Jonathan Cantor, the Earl and Cars team. And I say this every week, but so far it's been true. The automotive business is just absolutely, I don't know what the word is. You could say it was terrible, it was great, it's exciting, it's different, Goofy. It's changing, it's everything. It's in an evolution like I've never seen in all my years in the business, and I've been in this business for, over 50 years. Everybody I talk to that's been in the business any length of time has never seen anything like the past 3 years. Just when we think things are going to crash, they get better. We were talking 3 years ago about electric vehicles. Now electric vehicles have just taken off like crazy, and it just, I don't know how. I feel bad for you, the consumer. I feel bad for people out there that are thinking about buying a used car or new car. I feel bad for people that are thinking about selling their cars. The market is a challenge for the professionals. Us dealers spend more time talking about what do we pay for a used car. If we don't know what we pay for a used car, how do you know what to pay for a used car? And that's part of the problem, and a reason you have to be even more careful. The market varies from location to location, depending on what state you're in or part of the state, what type of car. Electric vehicles are a bargain now. Just recently, Tesla cut their price again. They're saying you can buy a brand new EV, Tesla electric vehicle, for $19,000. Now, the average price of a new car now is over 50. So it's interesting, and we're here to try to answer your questions. If you've got anything that you are concerned about mechanically, and I use that word loosely because it's really electronically or computerly, if there's such a word. Computers and electronics are what have taken over mechanics. So you don't call a guy that can fix a car now a mechanic anymore, but we got a guy in the studio, Rick Kearney, that can diagnose anything wrong with your car. And I know that sounds like a grandiose statement, but you really, really can get most all of your answers from Rick. And Rick is monitoring our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Earl on Cars. We have a huge cadre of extremely knowledgeable people that listen, watch, or stream on YouTube. We'd like you to join that team. Just go to youtube.com/Earl on Cars, and then anything that you ask or suggest or comment on, Rick sees that immediately. And we got Stu back in the studio. He's monitoring our texting. And if you want to text us, you go into area code 772-497-6530, and you call that, or you text that, I should say. Text your question. And we use text to kind of like store up, because if we get a bunch of text, we can get to them during the 2 hours of the show. Now, we're on from 8 a.m. To 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And during that 2 hour spread, we will get to all of our texts. We'll get to all of our YouTubes, because we can go back. Now, the one venue to reach us that we really like, because it deals personally, Nancy Stewart, to my left, she's my wife, my co-host, co-founder of the show 20 years ago. She's watching her laptop computer, and Jeremy in the studio will shoot the calls through, so she'll know you just called, and if you're waiting, she'll know you're waiting. And that number, please write this down if you haven't, not driving or can write it down safely, 877-960-9960. That's 877-960-9960. And we will stop what we're doing because we prioritize phone calls. You can text all you want, but I think we have a phone call.
We do. We're going to go to the phones, and if you didn't jot that number down, it is 877-960-9960. You can also text us at 772-497-6530. We're going to go to Dan, who's been holding from Michigan. Good morning, Dan.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. What's up?
Well, I purchased a vehicle. We were the second owner. It was a Lincoln Aviator 2020 from a dealership, and they said that it was a dealer trade-in situation.
Mm-hmm.
There were some minor things that customer wasn't happy with, and Lincoln was, very lenient, gracious on return to satisfy customers.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked the guy what was wrong with the car. He said, well, there was a cluster. The lights were coming on it. After the people bought it like 4 days, and those lights were coming on and off. They put a new cluster in. Problem solved. Then there was a recall, just a basic recall that came in between, the other issue, and I guess when I called the dealer I verified this, based on what the salesman told me, just to make sure it was accurate. The second issue happened about 90 days after the first issue, and it was just a simple leak. It says here, customer saw spots in their driveway, 6 to 10 spots in the driveway, brought it in. There was a seal, transfer case seal that had to be replaced. Problem solved. Now the customer goes to the dealer, says, hey, we've had issues. We want a different car. And so what do? But when I called the service department there, I asked them, was there a main issue? Was this a lemon callback? And they said, no, the car did not, based on their state laws in New Jersey, this is in New Jersey, said, nope, did not qualify for a lemon law. And I said, well then, and then at that point, I was satisfied based on what the original salesman was telling me. So again, we get the car, decide, that at that point, and then I asked the salesman again. I said, I'm not going to have any issues down the road when I try to trade the car and sell the car, and am I? Nope. It should show as a dealer trade back, and you should be all set. So we get the car delivered here, and so here we are 3.5 years later. We go to, my wife says, I want a different car. We go into the dealership, and they said, first they gave us a price of the vehicle. Said, okay, fine. But we're going to have to, they had a car there, and then the dealer comes back after we sit down and says, we can't give you that price for your trade. I said, what's the problem? There's some issues on the Carfax. Carfax shows the car's a lemon. And I'm like,
that's very interesting. Dan, as I understand it now, you have your car repaired at this dealership, and every time you had one of these issues, they did the repairs?
Well, the original people that owned the car, they only owned it for like 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And the dealership sent me copies of their service issue. So I've got it in writing here. What happened? And again, so what happened is I called the service department back again and said, when I called back 3.5 years ago, you said this car wasn't an issue. There were some minor things that happened that were all taken care of, and they said, yes, that was. And I said, it's showing here in a Carfax that this is a lemon law. And they looked back, they looked again and said, no, this does not qualify for a lemon law based on our state. The car had this issue. They had the car in for 2 days.
Dan, we've got a bunch of calls holding here, and I think I understand your problem. Go ahead.
Yeah,
sir.
I looked on to see Carfax. There is the various states have the lemon laws, and there's a federal lemon law. There's and that's a specific procedure. Carfax considers a lemon if it has a substantial defect that the automaker can't fix. So it's I don't think they necessarily have to go through this lemon law thing. But it actually says lemon. It's a lemon law vehicle on the Carfax report.
Yes.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because usually the customer has to go through a process of there's a mediation between the manufacturer and the dealer.
Dan,
Very odd.
Dan, did you see the report or did you take their word for it?
The original report you're talking about?
When you went to get it appraised and they showed you the Carfax.
Oh, I've got a copy.
You got a copy.
Of it.
Hey, is there any way you could email that to Nancy?
You want me to text it
or text it? Yeah, you can text it to the show number. 877.
See, a car is not a car is not officially a lemon law car until it has been arbitrated under the lemon law. These are state laws. They vary. Michigan would have one lemon law. Florida would have another lemon law. But just because
you would participate in that.
Yeah, you'd have to.
You would be a part of that. You would.
Yeah, so you would have known about the.
No.
So it is not a lemon law car. I mean, it may be qualify if you had filed it, but you'd have to actually go against the manufacturer, and you'd have to go through arbitration. You would know that you'd done that. So they're not being honest with you about the car being a lemon law on Carfax.
Well, we need more information.
Okay, Dan, it's Nancy Stewart. In order for us to clear this up, if you could send the information to either myself or text it on the text number that whatever's easiest for you. I'll give you my number,
No, I'll just text it to
561-386-6498.
498. Yeah, and just one thing. Again, the dealership verified did not qualify. The service department there said this did not qualify for a lemon law.
Well, the lemon. See that again. That's inaccurate information. They're telling you the wrong thing, either accidentally or on purpose. I'm not sure, but a car qualifies for lemon law, and the typical format is you in writing complain about an issue that the dealership was unable to fix. And it varies from state to state, but you return it twice, and if they still are unable to fix it twice, then you have, oftentimes through an attorney, you would file an official lemon law complaint, and then you would go to arbitration. The Better Business Bureau does it in Florida. Maybe in Michigan they have a different arbitrator, but it would be a matter of official record that you would know about. So the fact that they keep telling you, and they say this is not a lemon law, they don't know whether it's lemon law or not. The lemon law determines that, and if they've tried to fix it 3 times and they failed, by definition it probably qualifies under the lemon law. So I think you're being misled by your dealer. You might have to get an attorney, but when we get this information,
let's clear this up, Dan, and text me that.
No, I did contact Carfax and not heard back from them. So
okay, we'll get back to you. Well, we're going to have to jump to the
right now.
Yeah, we're going to have to jump to the next caller, but we'll get back to you with an answer on that.
I appreciate this. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dan. Have a great weekend. Thank you for calling. 877-960-9960. Text us at 772-497-6530. Don't forget youranonymousfeedback.com. We're going to Lance, one of our favorite calls. We have a lot of them, and he is a regular caller, and he's calling us from Tennessee.
If you get a Carfax report and it comes back under the Big Orange Law, we buy them immediately.
The Big Orange Law. We're not familiar with that in Florida.
Earl, first of all, I've got you a little tune.
I hope so.
If you're sitting in jail and can't go far, listen in to Earl Stewart on Cars.
That's right. We do have a delivery to the County Detention Center program.
Lance, can you get some accompaniment on that? Maybe a guitar or a piano? I'd like to have a little music to my songs.
Well, several of them haven't made bond yet. Earl, let me ask you a quick question about truth in advertising.
Okay.
I see a lot of low mileage cars where the dealer says in the ad, lease turn-in, lease a former lease car. Mm-hmm. Is there any way that you can be sure or be assured that that is true, that it is actually a lease turn-in?
Sure, all you have to do is look at the title to the car. You're buying the car from the dealer, and if he's selling you the car, he's got the title. He should have the title, and when you look at the title, it'll show the previous owner. And if it's a leasing company like GMC Leasing, or it could be, a bank leasing company, it would clearly be stated on the title.
Okay. Hey, Earl, thanks a lot. I'm coming up with an album idea, best of songs from Earl Stewart on cars.
Well, do I get a residual on that if it's a hit? I mean, what do I get a percentage?
Well, I think we can mine it from all our shows. I think Jonathan could put together something. I guarantee you there's been singing. Not just Lance. You sang. We've all sang. We can do it.
I'll tell you what we'll do, Earl. We'll trade you some bottle caps.
Oh, there you go. Okay, we'll do
Just
that.
like the old days.
Thanks. You're an important part of the show. Please call again, Lance. We love you.
Have a great
I
weekend.
missed you, Lance.
Okay, folks, I'm going to offer that $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. First 2 new lady callers, you can win yourself $50 this morning. And ladies, I have to tell you that, we have more equal footing today. That's one way of putting it. And we've become a whole lot more knowledgeable, and for sure, we definitely are the financial foundation for these dealers, and we have a big representation from women. So please give us a call, toll free at 877-960-9960, and you can win yourself $50 this morning for the first 2 new female callers. Also, in the news, there's a whole lot of ways to save money. And what I mean by that, take a look at your insurance recently if you haven't. And you can check out Consumer Report, and you can find out the ratings that they have given these insurance companies. And did you know that USAA is rated 92%? 92%. They are at the top of the list for overall satisfaction.
They're much better. Number 2 is not anywhere near 92.
Exactly. And I've never heard of number 2. Number 2 is the NJM Insurance Group. And, they could be in any part of the country, but they're rated 86. So if you want to update yourself on these insurance companies and the ones that are around that nobody has really ever heard of, you can do that by going to Consumer Report. That's consumerreport.org, I believe. Can anybody back me up on that?
That's it.
Okay. And also, what's really interesting is I have to share this before I go on. There's Allstate, State Farm, all of these companies that you know of that are rated so low now. So you need to do a little homework on that end of it.
You mean I'm not in good hands with Allstate?
That's right.
Oh, God.
The world is changing. Also, there's another way of saving money, and don't forget, incentives are back. They are back in full swing. Take advantage of it. You have to take control when you walk into the dealership. Find out what incentives are available and what you're entitled to. 877-960-9960. Text us at 772-497-6530 and take advantage of youranonymousfeedback.com. And don't forget, we've got Layla coming in. She's the dog of the week. She is the dog of the week. Well, she won't be coming in. It's via video. And don't forget that we pay all of the adoption fees. All of the adoption fees. It makes it so easy for you. We all work together. So you can stay tuned for that video just about, I'd say, 9:20. Right, Jonathan? Okay. We'll get back to the phones, and we're going to talk to another caller from Tennessee, and his name is Casey. Good morning, Casey.
Well, good morning. How you all doing?
Great.
Good. I've got a question for Rick. So my question is, we have a 23 Toyota Crown, and got 5,500 miles on it. And in the steering wheel, when making turns, we just started hearing a click, and I don't know if it's a piece of plastic. That's what it sounds like, or if it is a relay or something like that. I wondered what Rick's thoughts were on that.
As soon as Rick catches his breath, he'll let you know.
Well, I'll sing you a song like the other guy from
Like
Tennessee.
Lance?
Well, we're waiting.
My first thought is probably the plastic trim of what's called the clamshell. That's the plastic that's around the steering column itself. I've seen a lot of those, even on the Crowns. Unfortunately, they don't sit properly in place, and it needs to be adjusted. And when you're turning the steering wheel, that actually catches on it, and you'll hear that little clicking sound. If you stop in at any dealership, let them, show them the noise. That's the best thing. Have the service writer right there, turn the wheel so they can hear it, and they should be able to get that handled for you in a very short amount of time.
That's all warranty, of course.
Yes, oh yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So there's nothing I can look at. It's something that they have to look at and adjust.
Yeah, I would just clear like a couple hours of time, and call ahead and get an appointment is the easiest way for whatever dealer you need to deal with, and just go in and say, hey, I'm getting this noise. Here it is. Please take care of this for me. And it's under warranty. There's no reason you should even have to mess with it. And they should make that right for you.
You might even get them to loan you a car if they're going to tie it up for a long time. But Rick says it'll only take a couple hours. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. I appreciate the answer, and you guys have a great day.
Well,
Thank you,
Casey.
Casey. We appreciate you. Hey, 779609960. Let's go to Joanna. She is she has called before, and she's calling us from West Palm Beach. Good morning, Joanna.
Yes, good morning. I have called in one other time before. I appreciate your show. What I was wondering is that the mystery shopping that you all do regarding the dealerships, do you have like a website on that? Do you keep a list of it for the public?
Yes, we do. If you go to earloncars.com, we have the list is right there on the right side of the page. There's a bunch of links, and it's there. But you could also go to, but this is harder to remember, gooddealerbaddealerlist.com. It lists all the grades that we give to the dealers that we mystery shop, but there's also the archive is there as well. But it's easier to remember Earl on Cars.
Okay, so it's earloncars.com.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's all I wanted. I really appreciate that. I didn't know if you were legally able to do that or.
Yeah, and also Jonathan just pointed out that all of our shows are all archived on YouTube. So if you go to youtube.com/Earl on Cars, or if you just go to YouTube and search Earl on Cars, you can watch all the episodes, and each one has a mystery shopping report, so you can listen to it all over again or for the first time.
Wow.
And
All right.
Joanna, at Earl on Cars, you can take a look at a lot of stuff. Earl's column that he writes every single week. It's most beneficial for anyone who is looking to purchase a car, lease a car, everything and anything. So Earl on Cars, that's where I would go.
Okay, great. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for the call. 877-960-9960. And we are going to go to Dave in Palm Beach Gardens. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning. First of all, I'd like to say you got to really be on your toes to buy a used car from Earl Stewart. I tried to buy a Highlander. The person before me bought it a couple of weeks ago. Went in last week, I think there were two RAV4s. Somebody just bought both of those. So anyway, I had a question. I don't know if this is for Earl or Rick, but there's a RAV4, and it's 2022. And it's got 15 service calls in 14 months. and only one of those services are oil registered as an oil change. The rest just say service, service, service for 15 times. And I'm wondering, doesn't that seem a little lot? I mean, it was like every other month, and it just seemed very strange that a car would be brought in that many times if there wasn't maybe something, there was an issue.
And this is while it was. We'd have to see the details, because a lot of times if it doesn't say what it is, anytime anything's done to a car, there's a repair order. So it could be a detail, it could be a car wash, it could be something in the body shop as well. To actually get the VIN number, we can actually look at it. Was it at our dealership or another dealership?
Yeah, it's at your dealership on the lot right now.
Oh, okay.
It's only got 13,000 miles on it.
Oh, so
Yeah,
anytime
we'd have the complete detail on it, like Stu said. You would want to look at that. I'd want to look at it if I were buying that car. And as Stu says, it could be minor stuff, but it could be a problem. It could be a chronic problem. So
during the reconditioning process, before it goes on a lot for sale, various departments deal with it. The body shop might fix a scratch. The detail department will wash and clean it. The service department might do some mechanical stuff. And so it could be a combination of those things, or it could be a chronic problem that we try to fix. Rick?
If that happened to be one of our rental cars, then it probably was sent to the detail department about once a week to be washed up.
That's a very good point.
You'll see a service call over and over and over and over, and all it is they were simply sending it to detail to be washed, and all that means is that it's going to be really clean and shiny.
Yeah.
But I would definitely, what you can do is stop into service, and they can pull up that service record and tell you exactly what was done each time.
Yep.
Okay, so I notice you guys are, hugely busy in service, and it seems like there's cars backed up everywhere. So how would I get access to that information without,
Okay, why don't you, on the website, just text us the stock number or the full VIN number, copy and paste, and then we can find out. I don't have my computer with me on the show but Rick, could you get in and access it?
I don't know how fast Carfax gets that information up, but Carfax also records the information on our cars mechanically. Anything done to the car, Carfax does. So you could try going to Carfax. They might already have the information, or you can get it from us.
Send us the VIN. Rick can look it up right here on the show.
Yeah, the VIN number. Okay, send it to you. Okay, I won't take up your time now.
Yeah.
It's online. It's the 2022 RAV4 white. It's only got 13,000 miles, and it just seemed like, well, why would someone trade in a car with only 13,000 miles at the 2022?
Hey, real quick,
and then you see
those are all good questions.
What's the stock
Dave?
number? Real quick, I'll tell you right in a second. What's the stock number?
The stock number is. Right here, I've got it right here. Mileage 13,022. Where'd the stock number at here? Boy, it's a good-looking car here too. Good-looking RAV4 white one here. Stock vehicle info model VIN stock. God.
I'm gonna find it before you, man.
We don't want to hold up too long. We got other calls holding. We'll get that information. We've got the information.
Number is P127.
That's the answer. It's a rental car. We purchased it from our rental department, so it was not a trade-in. So it was a vehicle that started with us, and we're selling it. So, but I'll look it up and we'll read it later on the show. Keep listening, and we'll say what was going on with it.
Thanks a lot, Rick. I really appreciate it.
You got it.
That was Stu.
All right. Bye.
877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. YourAnonymousFeedback.com. Ladies and gentlemen, heads up, flood cars everywhere. Beware. If you've got a mechanic that is faithful to you, you can take that vehicle to them to check it out because, like I said, warning, flood cars are everywhere. And there's some, there's some telltale signs that you yourself can pick up on. And one of the biggest ones is that musty odor and water marks and rust marks and mud and debris, electrical problems. your headlights could be discolored or foggy. So make sure that you are aware of all of that before you purchase anything today. 877-960-9960, and text number is 772-497-6530. Ladies, $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. Now back to the recovering car dealer.
Well, we got a lot of stuff to cover. There's something in the automotive news I got to share with you. You've heard me say on the show many times that the F&I department, the finance department, sometimes called the business office, is the most profitable department in a car dealership. You think they made a big profit when they sold you the car. You ain't seen nothing yet because the biggest profit is in finance. And you need to be very careful. The standard information I give on this show over and over is use your own bank or your credit union. Get your own financing. Try to avoid dealer financing. Now, there are exceptions to that, especially when it comes to financing by the lender for the dealer. They sometimes have finance specials that are quite good. But rule of thumb, use your credit union first and then your bank. You get a better finance rate. Here's something from the Trade Journal of the car dealer. Every car dealer reads the automotive news. Every manufacturer reads the automotive news. And here's an article in there from a company that is talking about how dealers should hand off sales to F&I. Now, I love this. I hate to read things, but I'm going to read this to you. This is what the finance company who is working with the dealer to make an average of typically $2,000 on every new car they sell, how to do that. You greet the customer. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I'd like you to meet Natalie Davis. These are made-up names. Our business manager. That's the F&I manager. She'll be completing the rest of the process with you today, Natalie. This is Mr. and Mrs. Smith. They just purchased a new Honda Civic. And they go on to say, you'll be in great hands with Natalie because she does an excellent job and is very efficient. Natalie is going to share with you some valuable ways to protect your vehicle. And then it says, if the salesperson has a service contract, they would add, I actually have a vehicle service contract myself to end the speech. So that's called the setup. And that way, you think you just bought the car, you think you've paid your money, you think it's all done and you know the price. Well, the biggest money is about to hit you in the face in the F&I office. So I just want to warn you again, use your credit union, use your own bank. And if you want to shop and compare price of finance costs and interest rates with the dealer, that's fine. But as I say, if you've got reasonable credits, you're going to do just fine with your own bank.
Yeah, go in there, not naive. Rick has looked up the service history on the vehicle we just talked about, the one that was the RAV4 that we're offering for sale, and our suspicions have been confirmed. A bunch of car washes, about every other week or so, every 10 days. We have a description on our detail. It says, wash, vac, windows, Earl Stewart rental car, and that occurs about 5 times on this screen.
That was only some of them.
That was some of them, yeah.
It was a whole bunch of them.
So, yeah, that's good to know. I wish more people would ask about that because I wonder how many people see that and go, uh-oh.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder if there's not a better way to deal with that. In other words, there should be a separate category for that so that, if you have a car that's been in for 25 times for the same problem, chronic, serious problem, or you had 25 car washes, I mean, there's a big difference. So there should be categories when you're looking at that list.
Is there any danger of washing off the paint with that many car washes? No, but you got to wax it. It's gonna, and that's what we do before we put it on the lot. So there you go. Hey, I have a text from Anne Marie, and I missed her a lot when I was gone. You ready? Emery says, good morning. I've read conflicting viewpoints on the internet, so I'd appreciate your expert opinion on if or when, and this is probably for Rick, if or when it's appropriate to get an injector cleaning. Let's take, for example, a 10-year-old 4-cylinder Camry with 94,000 miles on it that has always received its routine maintenance and uses top-tier gas. Let's compare it to a 3-year-old 4-cylinder Camry with 30,000 miles on it that also uses top-tier gas. Let's assume that neither car is exhibiting any decline in performance or mileage when is an injector cleaning needed, or when is it, as the internet calls it, just a wallet flush?
All the time.
Huh? All the time?
Yeah.
It's a wallet flush.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, so I like
It's-
that. I
it's
like that. I like
wallet
that
flush.
wallet flush. Very good.
Hungry-
'Cause you have
hungry text.
transmission flush, radiator flush, wallet flush.
All under the category of wallet flush, of course.
So that's very
The
nice.
only the only one of those that is a Toyota factory recommended maintenance is the coolant renewal, which is recommended at usually some cars are 100,000, newer cars are 150,000. I think.
Isn't there a difference between a flush and a renewal? I mean, if you're going to replace the fluid,
Actually, a flush is actually meant to be a complete fluid renewal. All the fluid gets drained out, and all the fluid gets replaced.
Like put pressure in it in the air and like squirt it out.
This came from way back when transmissions we used to do just a drain and refill, and you were only replacing about 4 quarts when the transmission actually held 12 to 16 quarts of fluid. A full transmission flush replaces all the fluid in one shot.
Yeah.
But the factory recommended maintenance only calls for a coolant renewal or a coolant flush, and then it's only at 100,000 and then every 50,000 after that.
the only good flush is when you're playing poker. Just remember that.
Wording is everything, isn't it? 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. We sure are glad Stu is back. Boy, I'll tell you, it's just a party when he's here. So he is going to continue. In fact, he has his party hat on.
I do.
You do.
They look like earphones.
He's going to continue with the text, and then Rick is going to give us a little open
dance.
into
little
YouTube.
This is from anonymous feedback. I haven't heard this. Is pretty cool. Good news is that 2 states have passed laws, and a 3rd state has plans to require GPS trackers on all electric vehicles so they can tax by miles driven to replace gas taxes.
Wow. I haven't heard that either.
Pollyanna is having a good laugh, he says, or she says.
Huh.
That's kind of interesting because that was a discussion. What are you going to tax kilowatt hours? How are you going to make up for the lost gas tax revenues? Yeah, miles you're using the road. I guess that's fair. I know there's going to be a lot of people who don't want the government tracking them by GPS though. So good luck with that. That was probably
Does it
Oregon.
name the states?
No, I'm going to guess it was Oregon and Washington.
Yeah, probably
and,
right.
And California's working on
Maybe,
this.
yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Not making any comments, but this is we haven't read this one, I don't think. Let me know if you did it last week. They're talking about floor plans. We put a video on YouTube a while back. This is during when the inventories just crashed to nothing during the supply chain issues back in the beginning. So you're explaining about floor plans becoming obsolete. He says the video seemed to end abruptly. This is Jonathan's fault then, just kidding. Without elaborating why they're obsolete. Just in a nutshell, dealers don't buy the cars directly from the manufacturer. They have a loan. It's kind of like a standing loan, and they basically use
They
this
buy
loan.
them, but they borrow the money.
Yeah, they borrow the money to buy the cars from the manufacturer, and they pay. Hopefully, if they work very hard, trying to get it as low a rate as possible. And we had it for a long time. We have an extremely low rate. Well, the whole world had low rates, but our low rate was really low. Yeah. But even back then, with the inventories that we carried, 500 cars plus, we would pay $50,000, $60,000 a month just in interest, just to have these cars sitting there. When we went down to having no cars or 3 cars, you could now imagine that expense evaporated completely. And so that was another benefit that dealers aren't telling you. They're making a lot of money selling the cars, but a lot of their expenses came down by having not carrying so many vehicles.
Yep.
So that's the answer to that.
Great information.
Yeah. Caught up.
Oh, great. Before we go to Rick, we're going to go back to the phones, but I am going to remind the ladies this morning to please give us a call, first 2 new lady callers. You can win yourself $50. And remember, ladies, as I said earlier, we're a big part of the auto industry, and from a Harvard Business Review, I shared this with you last week, the mark of financial power, and for the dealers not to recognize this, it is a financial disaster for them. Okay, we are going to go back to the phones, and we're going to talk to our favorite person, Marty. Good morning, Marty.
Good morning. How's everybody doing?
Great.
All right.
One thing when Nancy said earlier, she said that dealerships are now discounting cars. I got an email from JM Lexus, and they said this was only good yesterday, so I missed the boat. They were taking $500 off if you bought a Lexus yesterday.
Wow. JM?
So, JM Lexus. So that's I missed it because I was eating lunch, and I wouldn't go over there for $500. So instead of them making $5,000 on a car, they were only willing to make.
Yeah, I can't believe that $500 over a Lexus is like a drop in the water.
I'm also confused because that doesn't really sound like gimmicky, like something that they would do. So I'm inclined to think it was legit.
It was only good yesterday.
Well, they might have had a good reason. I don't know.
Yeah. Secondly, some lady, I was looking at the chat, she said she ordered a RAV4 Prime in July. I assume she meant July of last year.
Yes, July of 22.
Oh, that was the text?
That was Regina.
Yeah, okay, so that was... Yeah, I wanted to say, that is literally the hardest vehicle to get if you're trying to get a Toyota. They are the plugins.
I just ordered a 24 RAV4 Limited.
Yeah.
I was told I have to wait at least a year. Luckily, that doesn't faze me. But this lady has got to wait.
Yeah, and as far as the VIN number, Rick probably let you know, you don't until they build that vehicle or are just about to build the vehicle, and that's less than a couple of months before they'll actually get it. So.
Right. And then the third item I just want to go quickly is when you go into the finance office, what I do wherever I ever bought a car, I tell them no, 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 no. I initial all the paperwork you need and leave as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Because, as Earl said, you can really get screwed a lot in the finance office if you're not careful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And when you say no, 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 you need to check to be sure that the guy wasn't checking yes, 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 because their selling is based on the fact that people don't read what they sign. If it went in mandatory that everybody had to read everything they signed, the world would collapse economically. So none of us sign or read what we sign. I don't, it's very rare, and that's the reason lawyers exist. And then, of course, you got to pay the money to the lawyer, and so you don't want to pay the lawyer, so you just sign it. And that's what a lot of these car dealers do, is they will slip things in that you absolutely have no idea you signed until it's too late.
Well, how about those people that we spoke to that didn't even get the paperwork, so they didn't know what they signed, and then they were handed a little flash drive to put in their pocket, and they didn't have a computer.
And that's legal now. That is, you could take a flash drive, a thumb drive, whatever you want to call it.
You could email them something and email it to the wrong email address.
And you put it, and you take it home, and you don't know what to do with it. So it's just. It's a shame. I mean, if you can stay out of that F&I office and get your own financing done, you're way ahead of the game.
All right. Well, it's good. I love talking to you, and you got the greatest show going.
Bless your heart.
Thanks, man.
Bless your heart.
Thank you. Thank you for continuing to listen. And it's certainly been a journey for you, hasn't it? Up and down, in and out, with waiting for your vehicle. Okay, we hope to hear from you again next Saturday. Have a great weekend. We're going to go to John in West Palm Beach. Good morning, John.
Hey, good morning. With the information that was just given about GPS tracking and charging us by the mile, is that going to do away with the gas tax then?
Well, that was the intention, and we heard that. We don't know which states that is. I don't know if Rick's over there Googling. I don't have my computer, but that was the intention, I think.
I'll suggest to Earl, he buys another lot and starts stocking up on cars that are non-GPS, because when that hits, those are gonna go awfully quick.
We'll call it Tax Holiday Motors. Oh, no, yeah.
Yeah, and because like I think it's 2010 where you had to have the computer system on the cars, and all the cars have so anything maybe pre-2010, may not have the capability for the GPS tracking, so you won't have to pay that
right.
$1 a mile or whatever it's going to cost.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that would be enforced. I mean, if it's if it's Iowa, then I don't think any manufacturer is going to pay attention to it. If it's California, what's up, Rick? Rick's
Oregon and Utah.
That's two very different states. Oregon and Utah. I wouldn't expect that from Utah.
And that's
so. Is there a beginning time? What does it say?
I'm finding this on the axleaddict.com website.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah. Let's see.
I say nobody said they actually have done it. They're considering it.
Okay, it's under consideration.
It's considered in an effort to fairly fund road maintenance. States are introducing GPS trackers for EVs, aiming to track miles driven and impose a per mile tax.
All right, well, there you have it. I guess, we're trying to figure out what to do with it, but interesting to see how that plays out.
However, I do know that some states have an increased registration fee for electrical vehicles.
Right. I saw that was in California.
To cover those lost gas taxes.
Right. I think that seems to be more of a less intrusive way. I'm not one of those privacy nuts. I know you're not either, but
I'll tell you one of the things that's going to work against this attack on electric vehicles is the fact that electric vehicles are already dead. I mean, I don't mean that literally, but they're backing up on dealer lots.
Yeah.
Electric vehicles, and they have a huge supply of unsold cars on dealer lots. 100-day supply, and automobile business, that's a huge supply. That means over 3 months, it'll take you over 3 months to sell the average car that you set on the lot, and you can't afford to do that. So
there goes price, but then prices go down.
And prices are going down, and the cars are stacking up, and there's no question electric vehicles will be the name of the game in a few years. But it's like everything else; it goes in
I'm kind of
cycles.
glad.
And, right now it's scary to these. The public companies, the big auto dealers that have hundreds of dealerships out there, they're really dying because they have way too many electric vehicles in stock. They can't get rid of them.
Kind of glad Toyota slow walked this thing now.
Exactly. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe
they're smarter.
They knew.
Yeah.
I should have known they knew all along.
Yeah.
Well, and according to this one website, Utah has actually mandated GPS trackers for every electric vehicle.
Yeah.
So Utah actually said, "We've done it. We're doing it."
Well, there's only 3 people in Utah, so that's not a big
Right.
one.
No manufacturer is going to start worrying about it yet.
Do we have any callers from Utah, or did we before I said that?
We had some very conservative dealers that we knew in Utah.
Hey, folks, talking about electric cars, they're in the news. You know how much, Elon has reduced prices on his Teslas. But back in San Francisco, if you've kept up on the news, Cruise has really reduced driverless car fleet in San Francisco. They're having probably as much problems on the road as Earl and I did when we first began our journey trying to drive autonomous. So it's a nice read. It's in the New York Times if you want to check it out. Let's go to John, who is waiting in West Palm Beach. Good morning, John.
That's me. I've already spoken my piece.
Oh, you're still holding. Oh,
Yeah.
goodness.
John's been on the line the whole time. I was waiting to get back to him.
John, hang up.
So, John, I'm glad you're staying so close to us. You're listening to every single word. Okay, I'm going to spread this word, John, and tell all the ladies that you know, because by your voice, it sounds like you know a lot of ladies. Tell them the first 2 new lady callers this morning, they can win themselves $50. $50. They can give us a call, say hello, or share a experience with us in purchasing, leasing, service, anything at all. And you can give them the number, too, 877-960-9960. Have a great weekend, John.
John sounds cute, Nancy. Thanks.
Okay, what about Rick? Do you have anything? I'm sorry, Rick, we got to put you on hold. We're going to talk to Bob in Lake Park.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back, Stu.
Thank you.
I got a question for you, Stu.
All right.
What color has depreciation, the least depreciation?
Well, I would guess, I don't have any real resources up in front of me right now, but I'm going to guess silver.
No.
White.
No. That's got probably the most. It's yellow.
The best resale value?
Depreciates, right?
The least depreciation.
The least depreciation is yellow. That's probably because there's only one yellow car in existence, and it's some expensive Corvette that you can't get.
Absolutely.
Bob, I'm going to challenge you on that. I don't believe it.
Because I know that was Earl used to stock yellow cars in the lot because nobody wanted them, and so he would have a special on it. Take the air conditioning out and call it the Earl the Stewart special or something.
Oh boy!
And that was like 100 years ago, though.
Well, it's because they don't produce that many yellow cars.
Yeah, and so if I was thinking if they are, it's usually going to be on like it's going to be on like on a McLaren or or a Corvette.
Well, wait a second. You sell a yellow car, right?
Do we now?
Yeah,
we had a yellow FJ Cruiser. Oh, the yellow Supra. That's right, solar yellow.
I apologize, Bob. I just Googled it. You're right.
Really?
I had no idea. Boy, there I go. I learned something new every show. Thank you for that information.
That is great. I mean, that came out of the complete left field because I was really expecting it to be something between those boring colors.
Yeah, the top four colors are orange, green, and red. Of course, yellow is the best. Yellow, red, and
right.
Now, I would have said white.
Now, we do an analysis that takes out like supercars and like those, those $200 million vehicles? Because that's probably those go up in value.
Yeah,
definitely.
Well, I was, you had a call last week where you were telling the woman she wanted a blue Venza, and you kept trying to sell her a white one. And I was telling myself, I says, yeah, but in 5 years, if she walked in to trade that car in, another person was there with the same exact car and the same mileage, and they had a white one, she had a blue one.
Yeah.
She's probably going to get more money on her trade-in because there aren't any blue Venzas. They're all white.
Yeah, that's something that's something to consider. I know that like in like the South Florida market, and this is just from interaction with customers, and whether this is true or not, and Rick would know or we could look it up, the idea that a darker color in South Florida is just something that people don't want. I don't want a dark blue car. I don't want a black car. I'm going to be too hot. So they pick the lighter color cars. So maybe it varies by market.
It could.
Yeah.
And you know what? Excuse me, Bob, Stu. Consumer Report did an interesting study on what you just said about black cars and, these hot states and this myth that we used to think that
it's not true.
Exactly. There's really not much of a difference heat-wise and whether or not it's inside or outside, black interior, black exterior, and it's just amazing. It's an interesting report the Consumer Report did just recently.
Yeah, I always suspected that to a degree. And I thought if there was a difference, it would be not you couldn't feel it. It would be like the nitrogen thing.
Yeah, it's
definitely. I have another question.
Uh-huh.
Whatever happened to the $2,500 last week on that mystery shopping report that disappeared?
I don't know. I wasn't here.
I know you weren't.
What was the? There was
the $500 that disappeared.
$2,500.
Oh, $2,500.
Something disappeared.
I don't remember.
I thought you said I thought you said you were going to check on that. There was a $2,500 rebate on the paperwork, and then when they got down to
that's right. Yeah, on the Greco Ford.
Wallace. No, Wallace.
Wallace Volvo. Yeah. I will do that definitely. I think I can do it retroactively, but I'll go back and check. I was going to check to see if they were being legitimate or it was a actual factory.
Okay, to see if there's a Volvo rebate. Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because she only got $750.
Oh, we'll find out. Maybe it was some sort of like you have to be a real estate agent or a farmer. No. That doesn't sound like a Volvo sort of.
I think the question was whether it was a factory or if Wallace actually took it off the price of the car. And my guess, I said I thought it was probably a factory incentive.
Right. Okay. And I just wanted to mention one more time about the Palm Beach County animal shelters being overfilled. If anybody needs a pet, that
Yeah.
they're still in dire straits here.
Yeah,
And,
for everybody listening, Big Dog Ranch Rescue or any of the other ones, it's hot out there too. It's a hot summer, and these dogs don't have air
Well,
conditioning.
here's the sad part, really, is that the other shelters, most shelters, and we're not competing. We love all dog shelters, but Big Dog Ranch Rescue is our shelter. That's the one that we back, and we think they're the best. But the other shelters, I'm sure, are good too. The other shelters oftentimes have to euthanize the dogs. They only have so much space. All the public shelters have a time limit, so Big Dog Ranch Rescue takes dogs from the shelters before they're euthanized. Now, the dog we're going to have on the show this afternoon has been there 521 days. Now, that's almost, 2 years. And that dog can live there the rest of his life if we want to, but we need to find homes, because if they stack up, all we could do is be a storage place for doggies. We want them to have a nice home. So that's the reason that our heart is with Big Dog Ranch. The only place where you can literally, if you have to give your dog up, don't take him to the county shelter. Take him to Big Dog Ranch, because this dog will live a long life and hopefully find a happy home.
Right. Well, I heard Furry Friends is no longer taking in any animals because they're full.
Yeah.
And they said that adoptions have dropped off severely. And I think I spoke to Nancy about this last week.
You did.
And I think another reason is a lot of people are getting evicted from their apartments because the rents have gone up so high. And when they get evicted, they surrender their pets.
Well, not only that, Bob, but, there are some pet owners that have gotten older and they simply can't care for their pet any longer.
That's true.
And it's really sad for them to part with their pet, really sad. And they really want to put this pet, it's like their child. They want to put it somewhere where they know it's really going to be taken care of. And as you said, I think it was last week, what does it cost to feed an animal today? The price tag on that is much different than it used to be, and so many other things to have a pet. It's costly.
Right. Well, Peggy Adams has a program for people that are senior citizens that it's not inexpensive. I think it's something like $24,000 or $25,000, and you get older if you pass away and you have pets. They will take the pets and they will do all the medical care on them and find them new homes. It's a good thing. They have a program for that.
Yeah. All these places are really trying to help out, the public, so that they can, get some of these dogs out of these shelters. And you made a lot of good points last week. I do recall, your phone call.
Yes, and I did do one other thing. I'm still shopping around for auto body work on my car. I've been to a number of places, and I'm going to...
we can't vet these
there was a couple of different places numbers that we gave you last week.
Right.
Hey, Bob, we also have on the Volvo rebate, there is a legit $2,500 rebate from Volvo on the 2024 XC90 and the rechargeable and the plug-in, and also just the 2024 Volvo XC90 regular vehicle.
Right, but this was not that. The one she shopped was the 60, I believe.
V60, there's a $1,200 rebate on that.
XC60, it was a 2024 that she shopped.
XC60 is a $1,200 rebate. So it sounds like maybe they teased her with the big rebate and she ended up getting a smaller one.
Yeah, well, they gave her $750.
Yeah.
Bob, I'm glad that we could help you out. You could help us out. It was great hearing from you. Get back with us on your findings for the different shops you're going to head to.
Okay. Thank you very much. You guys have a great weekend.
Thank you. You do the same. 877-960-9960, and you can text us at 772-497-6530. Ladies, give us a call, toll free. Please. You can win yourself $50 this morning. First two new lady callers. We're going to go to John in Stewart. Good morning, John.
Good morning, everyone.
Welcome.
Thank you. I have a question. Well, I got a good thing to say first. My brother-in-law I just drove him down, or rode down with him to pick up his RAV4 hybrid, and he from you guys, and he loves it. And then he had a 2012 Nissan Altima 2.5, and you guys were going to give him $1,000 for it or something. So he thought that was too low, so he wanted me to buy it. So I bought it. I drove it for 1 week, and the air conditioner is not working.
Oh.
So yeah, I know. And I was driving my wife to the airport. It was like 90-some degrees. It was terrible.
Oh.
But anyway, so I'm going to ask Rick. My brother-in-law thinks there's some kind of magnetic thing that when you you turn on the air conditioner, the thing hits over in the belt fully. It's going because the compressor's not running.
The magnetic clutch on the compressor.
Yes, sir. Right. That's exactly what he thought it was. And I was just wondering what would be a ball. I got it right here at Firestone right now in Stewart, and they're going to look it over. What would be a ballpark price that would be within reasonable and not? Do you have any idea on that?
If it's just the clutch itself that has gone out, you'd probably be looking at somewhere around $500 to $600. If it's the compressor, double that.
And, so it's between 500 and probably $1,000.
Well, five to 600 if it's just the clutch itself, but if it's actually the compressor itself has quit, it'd be double that.
And John, get a couple of bids. I mean, I don't care if you take it to us or somebody else. When you might be spending over $1,000 on your car, don't ever just take the first bid. You go to 3 different sources. I've included an independent shop and a dealership shop, and but you get three bids and let them know you're going to be getting the bids, because it makes them sharpen their pencil every time they give you the quote. If you just say, okay, fix it, then you better hide your wallet, because they're going to be after a lot of money. But say, listen, this is a lot of money for me. Give me your best price to repair this, and I'm going to take it to 2 other shops and compare their prices. That way you'll get the best price.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. Because that's what I usually do.
Yeah.
But does he think if it's like if it's a compressor, does he think I had to spend $1,000 on a $1,000 car? I mean,
no.
I don't,
No,
that's
you don't want to do
that's
that.
what I'm saying to you. Okay. All right, guys. If it was a Paul, it'd be okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because I don't have to have it every day, but now I do. So, okay, guys, have a great day. I really enjoy your show.
Thank you, John. Have a great weekend. Okay, Rick, do you have anything for us from YouTube?
Earl, do you have ants in your Tesla?
Ants in my Tesla? I don't think so.
This is coming from
I got ants
Negan
in my
One.
pants, but I don't have ants in my
Rick, as long as Earl and I are driving the Tesla, there are nothing of the sort.
Well,
Never, ever.
This one
But
is coming
there's ants.
from Negan
there's-
1.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. There are ants in so many people's cars right now. It's incredible, and I've been asked that over and over again.
Apparently, especially in the southeast, there is a certain type of ant called a black raspberry ant.
That's it.
Never even heard of it myself till now, but
sounds pretty good.
they like the charging ports, and they will literally collect thousands of them right in the charging ports, especially on Teslas. Apparently, it's something to do with the high voltage electricity creating a magnetic field that these ants are drawn to it.
All right. Are they electrocuted?
I don't think so.
Oh.
I think
They become more powerful.
They literally, it causes them to grow faster and to multiply quicker. So yeah, apparently there is an issue that this is rather well known for at least a year. I saw reports going back where these ants are collecting in the power
Next time I
port.
bring my Tesla in, I'll tell them to check it for ants.
Yeah, double check. But yeah, that was an interesting little thought. I mean, it happens that way, I guess.
Giant electrified ants. Do you remember that movie Empire of the Ants?
I remember that
They
one.
shot that locally here in Palm Beach County.
Yes.
And it was a cheesy B movie, a C movie, monster movie. Yeah.
Like I said, nothing's going to collect in our Tesla. Nothing. I'm meticulous.
Okay, and Now we'll get back. Let's see. We've got. Oh boy, my page froze here. Come on. There we go. Okay. This in from Donovan. He says, what does Earl think about the UAW voting to strike at the big three auto manufacturers this week if they don't get a new deal?
That's going to
Well,
be big.
he read my mind. We printed this out
We're
from
on it.
Automotive News. I was just announced yesterday. It's probably a bluff. I think there'll probably be a settlement. This is the way they play the game. You got management against the union, and so 97% of the UAW workers for the big three, Ford, Stellantis, and GM, voted to strike unless GM,
needs are
Ford, and
met.
Stellantis come around and sign on the dotted line. And they're asked for some big numbers. They're asking for a lot of stuff. This is all the way the poker game is played. Although, should it hit the fan and we just don't absolutely get a settlement, then it would mean a serious shortage of vehicles and prices would skyrocket. And it's not a good thing for the economy. It'd be a terrible thing for Ford, GM, and Stellantis because they can't sell any cars.
But for dealers.
Yeah, and it
dealers
would
might
be
like
a mess. But I think it's just a big poker game. My prediction is there will not be a strike.
And again from Donovan, he says, every manufacturer who has EV inventory increasing has announced that they are switching to the Tesla connector in 2025. People are going to wait because they keep hearing about poor charging with these other manufacturers' dedicated charging systems.
Yeah, there was just a report out that the complaint about electric vehicle charging availability and reliability has hit an all-time high. It's like shooting crap when you pull up to a charger now. Will it work or won't it work? And who's going to buy an electric vehicle when they don't know if they run out of juice, they can't, plug in. So it's a serious problem.
And he says also, plus, we are getting close to the $7,500 tax credit being at the time of sale on January 1, 2024. That's going to be a big help to a lot of people on affordability. I guess maybe it
People are waiting for
resets.
that, too.
And that's the reason that leasing is the only way to go on a car that qualifies because the lease is a loophole really for you, and
you get it no matter what.
You get it no matter what. So if you don't lease the car, you buy the car, you might not qualify. So there are some exceptions to that rule, but the rule of thumb is you can save a huge amount of money by leasing an electric vehicle. The average can be like $400 or $500 a month. I mean, a huge number. Yeah. So always try to lease. The bad news is you got to have higher credit ratings to lease than buy, but it's something you should at least endeavor to try to do.
Yeah.
So we have all kind of free information here, folks. So take advantage of it. Like I said earlier, you can save so much money by doing your homework. Knowledge is power, and there's a lot of deals out there, and incentives is one of them. And just as Earl just mentioned, leasing is at the top of the list. Interest rates are. They're off the wall. It's just incredible time. We are going to go back to Stu. Let me mention one more time to the ladies, just in case you didn't hear me the last 5 times. Give us a call toll free. Give us a call toll free at 877-960-9960. And ladies, the first 2 ladies, you can win yourself $50 this morning. Now back to Stu.
Got a text from Bob. It says, who would be interested in GPS tracking of car mileage? Insurance companies, law enforcement, state tax departments, on and on. Also, since a lot of GPS units give you speed of the vehicle, mix that with local law enforcement, and you might get automatic tickets for speeding. It's endless. Just saying, Bob. I think it was easy to predict that the idea of the state of Utah or the state of Oregon or the state of Florida tracking you with GPS, knowing where you're going, I'm sure they don't care. But they can do it if you live in Utah. I mean, that's kind of crazy. I mean, I guess you can say is don't break any laws. Don't
Well,
speed.
you know, I forecast this whole privacy thing is going to crash and burn because it's going to be literally impossible to maintain your privacy. Right now, I mean, I can track Jonathan's car. All I have to do is slip a, what do they call them? Yeah, AirTag. Slip an AirTag, underneath his wheel well, and I know wherever he goes. I mean, it's so easy to track people that I think you just relax and assume you're being tracked.
Right.
Except Jonathan would know that you're tracking him because
he would.
His system, he'd pick that up in an instant.
He would, yeah.
Got a text here from
You'd
John.
have to pick another victim.
John says, this is for you, Earl. Good morning. Been watching the show on YouTube. Heard about the insurance part of the show. My question is, why is my insurance giving me a quote on aftermarket parts instead of original parts for my car? I was involved in an accident. Is it due to original parts being more expensive than the aftermarket parts?
Bingo. It's one of the most disgusting, disappointing things that happen is that our government, who was supposed to protect us, National Highway Traffic Safety Association, you name it, the aftermarket parts are not crash tested. So if you have a car and you wreck your car and you need a new hood, a new bumper, any of the parts that come in contact when you have an accident, the insurance company will insist on aftermarket parts. They'll buy them in Taiwan or some other place. They save a huge amount of money over what the manufacturer of that car's parts would be. They call them OEM parts. Now, you might go to the manufacturer and say, why are you hosing people by charging so much for your original equipment parts? Well, that's another discussion. But the fact of the matter is, I want to repair my car with a hood that has been passed the safety test by the National Highway Traffic Safety Association. And if the front end or side test, if it's a door or it's a rear bumper, if it hasn't passed the crash, why do you allow, and I'm speaking to our government now, why do you allow insurance companies to put on cheap parts? They might look good. In fact, they brag about their parts. They say, all of our aftermarket parts have been tested by so-and-so, but you'll never see them say they were tested by the government for safety, for impact, for rollover, for front-end. They're not tested for those. They're tested for, I guess they don't rust, or maybe there's certain other criteria, but they are not safety tested.
That's been going on for a long time. We brought that up.
We used to have our body shop manager on the show, and that would come up often because we would have to fight at our collision repair shop. We would have to fight the insurance company and we'd have to cut our prices and argue and stick up for our customer to get a original equipment part because they pushed and pushed. And a lot of insurance companies wouldn't do business with us because we insisted.
I think didn't some insurance companies offer that it's an upgrade?
Yeah.
You pay more, you can get that sort of thing. Got a text from Roy in Denver. It's an article. Texas, as of on September 1st this year, so next week, Texas will be among 33 states that are taxing EV drivers. So Texas is going to pay $200 a year. Citizens or purchasers in Texas of electric vehicles have to pay $200 a year to drive it. And when you buy a new one, you have to pay $400 up front. And that goes with the registration fees and additional to the usual fees. So there's 33. So a majority of the states are taxing EV owners, and it seems like a reasonable. I think that's a more reasonable way than the mileage thing, but we shall see.
Yeah, it bothers me in a way because they're screaming and hollering about clean air and the carbon footprint and all this stuff, and to penalize a person because you decided to take that step to lower the carbon footprint, and I don't think anybody's arguing about global warming anymore. It's 110 degrees outside as we speak.
That's right.
So why would you want to penalize a person for buying an electric vehicle?
I don't know. Maybe it's legit. Maybe it's political. Yeah. We'll never know.
Could be political.
Everything's political. Are you?
I'm all caught up.
How about you, Rick?
Let me see here if we have any other interesting ones. We did have a little, kind of a couple of them come in here. I'm going to put them together. The first one is from Roy Vanoy. He says, when buying a used car, what percentage of commission is reasonable profit to pay the dealer in the purchase? And Tom Steckel actually had come up to help him out with this one and said, don't worry about commission. Always seek the most competitive out-the-door price for any car. And at the same time, Prashanta Laddu said, I have a question about out-the-door pricing. Once we get the best out-the-door price from multiple dealers, should we then try to get them to remove the ridiculous junk fees, or is the best OTD price going to include all those fees?
Well, the purpose of getting the out-the-door price and comparing it against several dealerships is so you don't have to get into an argument about the add-ons. If a dealer wants to say he's got paint sealant and pinstripes and dealer fees, I don't care if that's the lowest out-the-door price. Once you start playing their game, which is arguing about junk fees and all the other garbage, the addendum labels. Once you get there, you're playing on their turf. They'll outsmart you. But if you just hold on to your one thing, the exact same car with the same MSRP and the best out the door price from 5, 6, 7, 10 dealers, the best out the door price, you're the winner, and you don't care what he calls the profit that he took out. If he wants to take his profit in, his junk fees, take it in as dealer addendums or dealer installed accessories, that's up to him. You just want to write the check for the lowest amount of money.
Do you think it'd be worthwhile to try going back to other dealers and say, hey, dealer B just gave me this price, can you beat it?
If you've got a lot of time on your hands, I would say no. I think your strongest way to do that is guarantee him you're not coming back. They don't want to give you an out-the-door price because they know you're going to shop and compare that price with other dealers. Well, that's your God-given right in the marketplace, the free marketplace, to shop and compare.
Obviously.
That's why Amazon exists, because you got 8 million prices to choose from, and you choose the best product at the lowest price you can find. That's the way you're supposed to buy. So you say to the dealer, I know you don't want to give me the out-the-door price because you're afraid that I'm going to shop it with another dealer. Well, you're absolutely right. I am going to. If you don't give me that out-the-door price, then there's zero chance of you selling me a car because you'll never see me again. So you have to be true to your word. And if you do give me the out-the-door price and I can't get it beat, I'll come back and buy. Maybe the odds are only 20%. I'll come back. But would you rather have a 20% chance of selling me a car or zero? And that way, any intelligent dealer is going to give you the out-the-door price.
And
You're a
also,
businessman,
Rick,
right?
to your YouTuber,
You're a businessman, right? 20%
Earl
is
wrote
better
a
than
great
nothing.
column, and that's Car Buyers Guaranteed and out-the-door price, and they can go right to Earl on Cars, and it's a great read, and it's a big help on how to get out without paying all these fees.
Excellent. And then one last comment from Mrs. Thomas here. She says, electrics only go for short trips. Terrible. And there is that factor, but if you figure that you've got an electric car that, say like the Tesla Model 3, I just happened to look at that earlier today, and the extended range on that one is about 330 miles.
It's like a regular car.
So figure if you're going on a trip, you're going to drive about 300 miles in that car, and it's going to need to be charged. At that point, you're kind of ready for a break. And how long do you think it would take to get that car at a supercharger?
Yeah.
20 minutes.
30 minutes.
Plus the fact, this 300-mile thing, that barrier's already been broken.
Yeah.
And Lucid and some other ones are up to 400.
You're 350.
Nancy and I ordered a Tesla Roadster, and that car is going to...
What?
Yeah.
When did this happen?
You were on vacation.
Oh, okay.
And that car has a 700-mile.
Hey.
Wow.
So it will be standard operating procedure now a year from now we'll be talking 700 miles instead of 300 miles.
Who's gonna get Miss Nancy? Who's gonna get Miss Nancy? The
I
Model
don't
S?
know.
Miss Nancy.
We might keep her out of sentiment.
Okay.
I'm up for an electric car.
I was going to say my wedding anniversary's coming up.
Who?
Rick's got present time coming up.
That's right. Well, we're coming up on, if you can believe it, 2 years that we've had the Tesla.
Wow.
2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. We celebrated over the weekend.
A 700-mile range on the Roadster.
On the Roadster.
It's considerably lighter. It's a smaller car.
Yeah, and it's faster than the
Oh,
Black.
really?
And
Does it fly?
Oh, yeah.
a quick note here from Donovan. He says, short trips, tell that to me as I'm driving to New York City from South Florida multiple times a year.
Wow,
it's
Donovan.
happening.
Donovan's all about the electric, so he's
And
he knows
He's
what
on
he's
board.
doing.
And then the Toyota announced the solid state battery thing that they're going to hopefully have on the road. They said by 2025 or 26, and that has a 900-mile range, right?
You know, one thing that I've never understood why I took caught on is in Israel when EVs were first around, they came up with a really cool system. Is that you just swap out batteries when you buy the car? You don't own the car. You don't own the battery.
Right.
You're leasing it. So you swap. So every time you want a car, you just pull into a battery station and they flop it out. It's like 5 minutes.
You drive over something. It's probably automatic. It just drops in
Yeah.
on the thing.
And to me, that's the way to go. I mean, it'll work with longer range or shorter range. I mean, but there is no limit on, just swap it out.
Wow.
Okay, folks. Well, first of all, Stu, Rick, do you have anything for me?
I'm all caught up. I'm kind of excited to see the dog video. I want to see Layla.
Okay. What were you said yes?
Just Johnny Fradley saying, Earl pimping in a roadster.
Well, I thought about that. I know I can get in. My problem is getting out.
Well, yeah. No, he said pimping, not limping. When you get out, you're going to take a few moments just to stretch.
I mean, I
A little funny
think
from,
the quarter mile
Stu.
time is like 8 seconds. I mean, it's some crazy
Wow.
thing. It's just
You'll never be late.
yeah.
We'll put springs in your shoes. Folks, we are going to be taking a look via video of Layla. Layla is our dog of the week. And as Earl said earlier, Layla's been at a Big Dog Ranch for 520 days. So when you see this video, you're going to just see how cute she is and wonder why she's been out there for so long. And most importantly, all of the fees are paid by Earl Stewart Toyota. And also, Earl's book, Confessions of a Recovering Car Dealer, I might mention also that all proceeds go to Big Dog Ranch. That book is going to cost you about about almost $20. I think it's $19.99. But all proceeds go to Big Dog Ranch.
100%. We don't get one nickel. You buy this book, it all goes to Big Dog Ranch Rescue.
And
Ruff,
Layla
ruff.
was
Arf, arf.
Layla was rescued with a badly injured leg from. I think she came in. Rick, do you know where she came in from?
I don't.
Miami-Dade, I think.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, I think she came in from Miami-Dade, and let's give her a second chance. And Elsa is the young lady in the video that you'll see, and she's a volunteer, and we need more volunteers. So you can go to Big Dog Ranch Rescue.org, and you can not only take a look at all the dogs that are up for adoption, but you can find out how you can volunteer. So with all of that said, we'll go to Jonathan, who run the video.
Meet Layla. She is a 3-year-old retriever mix who has the sweetest disposition. As you can see, she loves giving kisses and getting belly rubs and snuggles. She actually came to us a little over 500 days ago with some injuries to her back legs.
Just a little delay.
But she's gotten all the medical attention she needs here, and she is good to go and find her forever home where she can run around and get the zoomies and stretch.
I've got her on the Earl
crawl
Stewart
in her
Toyota channel.
sweet little
Okay.
way.
Yep, it's up.
As you can see, she is a beautiful girl with those light brown eyes and cute little white belly. And she is just such a sweetheart. She's super dog friendly, super human friendly.
You see it, Stu?
And she may be a little shy at first, but is
She
quick
is.
to warm
We
up
are
to
watching
people.
this video, and she is so
She
sweet
really
looking.
make a great family
Look at those
dog,
beautiful legs.
and anyone would be so lucky to have this silly little girl. And
She
we're
is just stretching out
so
for those
excited
belly
for her to
rubs.
find her forever home since she's
She
been here so
wants
long,
that
and
belly
We'll
rub.
miss her, but we know that she's gonna make the perfect pet, the best companion, and she's got so much love
That
to give.
is
and
one
you just
happy
look
dog.
At that smile
Happy
and
dog.
those eyes.
She's splooting. You know what
She
that is?
Absolutely
Stretching
precious.
right out,
Yeah.
legs
So
spread
if
She
wide.
you
got,
wanna
she got the
come
rear
meet
legs spread out on the grass.
Yep.
Oh,
She is
she likes her
more than
ears
ready
back.
to find her forever home.
That tail
And
is
love
just
to
going a
meet you
mile a minute.
and give you all the love.
You'd have to be careful about the tail. I think she could break bones whipping that tail. She's wagging it so hard.
How does the dog stay there for 520 days?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, that's a perfect dog in my book. I think she just must have been hiding. I think she liked it so much out there that when the
Yeah.
doctors come by, she hides.
I
She
just-
loves Big Dog Ranch.
I think a part of it has is they look so happy out there. You know, I mean, they're of course they're happy at the ranch because there's 800
Yeah,
dogs out
it's a
there,
great
1,000
place.
dogs.
A
How many
great-
dogs are out there?
Great place.
We have 500, as many as 500.
How? I mean, the dogs. Maybe the dogs don't want to leave, but don't let that fool you.
Yeah,
They're
we'll be
doing
out
Yeah,
it.
they could. I mean, I think literally, if I was a dog, I'd hide because I got a swimming pool.
Yeah.
They got maternity ward. They got doctors. They got nurses.
I got spas.
They got masseuses and
Yeah.
pedicurists and
Isn't that nice? And we'll be out there on Wednesday, folks. So we'll answer your questions too.
yeah. So Layla, real quick, I just want to say that we keep the videos up here. So if you're listening in the car or something like that, when you get home, or just look on your phone when you stop the car, go to YouTube, find Earl on Cars and watch the video, and then it's really easy to share from that point. You just hit the little share button. You can text it to people, so we can get everybody seeing Layla. 528 days is, I mean,
Yeah,
it's a long
520.
time.
But still, like Stu said, share. And remember that you can go to earlsbook.com or you can go to Amazon and you can take a look at Confessions of a Recovering Car Dealer. There you can purchase this book, and it's definitely filled with a lot of information. You can put it on the shelf and share it with your kids, share it with everyone. It's $19.99, and all proceeds go to Big Dog Ranch. All proceeds. So you not only have all proceeds going to Big Dog
Or
Ranch,
you can adopt Rick.
You can adopt Rick. We don't pay the adoption fees with
But you
Rick.
do-
You're on your own with that.
yeah, exactly.
But if
the
you adopt Layla, we pay the adoption fees.
Yeah, Rick's on his own. So Layla is you're lucky enough to have all the fees paid. That's a real important part of it because it is so expensive to adopt a dog and take care of a dog today. So go to Big Dog Ranch Rescue and take a look at bigdogranchrescue.org and take a look at Layla. We are going to be going to the Mystery Shopping Report, and you're a big part of it. We want you to vote, and you can do so at 772-497-6530. And I believe that we mystery shopped Cochrane Toyota.
Cochrane Toyota.
Yeah, but before I read this report that Stu put together for us from Agent Lightning's.
I think
visit-
Josh did this one.
Oh, Josh did.
Yeah,
Okay. I know I'm beating this. Big Dog Ranch does not euthanize dogs to death, and it's very important because. And Stu asked how many dogs we have out there. We have a huge number of dogs. One of the reasons we have a huge number of dogs is because we don't euthanize our dogs. You just heard Layla been there 521 days. So it's important that we get them adopted because there's nothing else we can do. We have to keep them at Big Dog Ranch Rescue. The other shelters that euthanize dogs, yeah, they have a heart too, but they don't have the financing to keep their dogs. So the county shelters bring us the dogs. And thanks to Big Dog Ranch Rescue and the huge investment they have, they keep and maintain these dogs in style, and it costs a lot of money. And Lori Simmons is the founder of Big Dog Ranch Rescue. She spends hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars herself out of her own pocket. And then we have contributions. So to help us make room at Big Dog Ranch Rescue, we ask you to consider fostering a dog. And fostering a dog is just taking a dog for a couple of weeks until make space so we can bring other dogs in. But every day we're getting calls from Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach County, Broward County, with dogs that are going to be euthanized, and we take them into Big Dog Ranch. So we don't have the room. So please consider fostering a dog. Even if you can't keep a dog, foster a dog for a couple of weeks, makes room for another dog to come in. Okay, now I'll get to my mystery shopping report of Cochran Toyota, and they're North Huntington is where they're located. That's near about 20 miles from Pittsburgh. I Googled it. Agent Lightning was up in the Keystone State for this week's mystery shop. Her target was Cochran Toyota, North Huntington, Pennsylvania. They have a respectable 4.6 Google rating. That's quite good. And their website promises that you will enjoy car buying your way with Expressway. A streamlined online buying process where you can complete all of your purchases from your home. That's good. That's the way buying is going. Everything's going to be online. Here's a report. I'm speaking as if I were Agent Lightning, our extremely talented mystery shopper. I arrived at Cochran Buick. I knew that would happen. That's the old Earl speaking. There was a Cochran Buick.
There was a Cochran Buick?
There was a Cochran Buick here.
Down here?
50 years ago. Yeah, right. And Liz Cochran was Ed Cochran's aunt. I arrived at a Cochran Buick. I did it again, Toyota, around mid-morning, and entered through the side door. As I walked to the showroom, I noticed a gentleman who was glued to his computer screen. He stood up, approached me, introducing himself as Chad, asking me if there was anything he could assist me with. I inquired about a Toyota Highlander XLE I'd seen online and showed him the ad on my phone. It displayed an MSRP of $44,077 with savings of $3,042, leaving a clear-cut price of $41,035. Now, that's a pretty definite ad. First, it's got the MSRP, and that way it allows you to shop and compare that vehicle with other Toyota dealers. And then it says a savings of $3,042, and the clear-cut price is $41,035. Now, we're not sure if clear-cut is out the door, but we're going to find out. What you want is the out-the-door price. Chad pointed out to the lot and confirmed that they did indeed have the Highlander in stock. Okay, they passed the first test. It wasn't bait and switch. The car advertised was there. He kindly asked if I could wait for 3 minutes while he finished up his computer work. He was very friendly, so I agreed and took a seat. After a brief wait, Chad returned. So I agreed. Okay. He requested my driver's license and retrieved the keys. We headed outside where Chad commented on the humidity of the day. I mentioned that I was accustomed to way higher temperatures in Florida. There was nothing compared to my home. We shared a friendly chuckle and continued to the Highlander. While we walked around the vehicle, I checked out the window sticker. It matched the MSRP. So far, so good. No addendum. In the online ad of $44,077, and to my pleasant surprise, there was no addendum sticker. Chad went into his presentation, was very knowledgeable. He explained that this particular Highlander was on discount due to it being a front-wheel drive model, not all-wheel drive. So remember, we're in Pennsylvania. These models were less popular in area due to snowy conditions. I told him this obviously did not concern me, being a Floridian. So we proceeded with a test drive. Upon our return, Chad asked me for my thoughts on the vehicle. I expressed my interest and asked to see what my bottom line would be. Chad assured me he would provide those details. He then asked whether I was considering buying or leasing. You're going to hear that all the time, folks. Standard operating procedure at car dealerships. I explained my flexibility with either cash or financing, depending on the terms. It's a good answer. Chad then handed me a sheet outlining financing and lease interest rates based on the different credit tiers. Well, lease, or they call them lease factors, and it's the same thing as an interest rate. Curious about paying in cash, I asked if there were any cash discounts available. A lot of people think there are, and there aren't. She asked if the pricing would be the same regardless of the payment method. Now, interestingly, we had a mystery shopping report very recently. It might have been Greco, where they said right out front, if you finance, we're going to charge you less. If you pay cash, we're going to charge you more. You rarely hear that.
It's like a gas station.
Yeah, right. They would need to work out the sales tax, the registration fees due to my out-of-state status. He then printed out a sheet displaying my total out the door. And again, just very simple. And the only thing they added to the clear-cut price was sales tax, and then that's where they stuck in a little bit here. Estimated registration and fees, $692. Total purchase price, $44,190. On the second page of the printout, it explained that the registration and fees were comprised of a $238 DM fee, which is a little unusual terminology, and then a confession of a $449 dock fee, which is a junk fee, and $5, which is hardly worth mentioning. That is a government fee. That's a tire fee. Before we concluded, Chad encouraged me to reach out if I had any questions, and said he looked forward to seeing me again soon. So,
did it match? Was the clear price was it the out the door? It was not.
It was not. No, the clear cut price had sales tax, estimated registration and fees.
$400 on it.
Yeah, and they got a $449 dock fee. I'm just hoping the $238 DMV fee was legit.
But that discount was legit, though.
Yeah, the discount was legit. So it was a low-scale junk fee. Is my not a lot of junk fees, $449. And every time I go over one of these mystery shopping reports, I always remember that the salespeople oftentimes don't know the truth either. Mm-hmm. They don't know what a dock fee is. I mean, they don't explain to new salesmen in their training procedures that this is a hidden profit to the dealer.
Yeah, they only find out when they get promoted.
They find out when they get to be managers.
Right.
Right.
All right, we're going to let you in on a few things here.
That's because they get paid. They say that's a very interesting comment, because a lot of people don't realize that the junk fees are not part of the salesman's commission. Right. So a salesman gets paid typically 25% of what the dealer says the profit is. Now, the dealer is not telling the salesman the truth either, right, because they put these dealer installed accessories, junk fees, and other garbage into the selling price. Right. And they're screwing the customer and they're screwing the salesman. So if there's $1,000 of junk in the advertised price that they pay, it's costing the salesman $250 because he's supposed to get He's supposed to get 25% on the profit. Well, they're not telling them about all the profit.
They hate it. The salespeople hate it because it's a difficult thing to overcome. It creates a conflict between them, and they're doing it for nothing. And even the sales managers, you got to go up pretty high to find an employee at the dealership that actually gets paid on the junk fees. Usually, it's just the dealer himself, the owner. And it's kind of money to swept from the sale, or somebody who's in the upper management, and that just gets set off to the side, and everybody gets paid on what remains.
Yeah. So there you have it. It's every time we go out of state or go into a different region, I always marvel at the difference, and I think about the fact that if you're an honest dealer, and somebody gives you a dealership in the middle of South Florida and says, okay, go sell cars, you become a lying, cheating thief. You have to
survive. Stay honest for long.
Because if you try to be honest in South Florida and you put your out-the-door price in your advertising, nobody will come in because they will go to the dealer that will advertise $1,000 less than your price, and you never see that customer, and he doesn't care because he's adding the junk fees and raising the price, and the customer doesn't know it.
If you had only not moved to northern Palm Beach County when you were still a young man, you might never have recovered.
Probably, yeah.
You were just far enough away from the fray to insulate
We had,
yourself.
when I started in business with my father back in 1968, we had I think it was a $6.50 dealer fee.
Ooh. Yeah. Oh, well, that was in Pack. That's probably like $100
It was
today.
1968, yeah.
Probably like $80 today.
Probably, yeah.
So it's still pretty low.
Okay, we got a vote. Okay, you heard it, Cochran Buick in
Remember,
Pennsylvania.
you can vote at
Cochran Buick,
772
Cochran Toyota, I'm sorry.
497-6530.
Okay, let me see if I have any coming in right now. But I can tell you where I'm going right now. It's pretty good to me. And not all of the dealers up there that we've shopped up in Pennsylvania, because now we've done quite a few in central Pennsylvania. And we had, a couple of months ago, we had a few that weren't, they were pretty nasty.
Yeah, really good, yeah.
No, most of them were good, but we had a couple of that were nasty.
But we don't have a special curve for Pennsylvania.
No, because we don't know the area that much. So
we have the
well, on its face, then I don't. My phone is taking a long time, so my grade is going to be. I'm going to give them a B plus. I think that they advertised the car. The car was there. Nothing scary happened. They have the little dealer fee, but it was really easy. B plus. If they didn't have a dealer fee, they get an A.
That is a small dealer fee. I mean, or junk fee.
Mm-hmm.
What was it for? What?
400 and something.
Yeah. When we got rid of our dealer fee, how many years ago, Stu?
2004.
Yeah. So
20 years ago.
20 years ago, our dealer fee, when we had one, was $495. So Cochran Toyota is actually charging less than we did all those years ago, almost 20 years ago.
Yeah. And not to mention, I forgot to mention a big discount. I mean, that's and it's not on a Corolla. Usually, you're seeing the discounts on like the kind of the bread and butter cars from Toyota. Highlander is still a pretty desired car. They do produce a lot of them, but to see a big discount on that car, it was nice to see. I mean, in this market, that's not happened yet, so we shall see. I do have text coming in. My phone is going crazy. Rick, let's jump over to you and get some grades.
Okay. I've got Guy Larrabee, a solid A because of the small junk fees. One Cash says C for cheap junk fee. And Negan 1, B, junk fee. They don't like those junk fees here. Tom Steckel, B, $400 dock fee is above average from what we're used to. Otherwise, a very good experience. Joseph Kelleher, B, would have been an A except for the high dock fee. Tim Gilliland, the small junk fee drops them from an A to a B plus. Johnny Z. Fradley, A minus sounds like a good deal with the discount, even with the $4.99 junk fee. Brian Sedlatko, it's a B for me. And for myself, I think I'm going with A minus. I
sounds better than a B plus.
A pretty good dealership there.
Yeah, I got some coming to Jonathan Del Rey. His dealership gives him a B. I'm sorry, a B plus from him. No nonsense. We got another B plus. Now my phone's going crazy again. We had 3 B pluses from my voters.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Okay.
Remember, folks, this is Cochran Toyota. They're in, I believe, Westmoreland County. That's not too far from Allegheny County, where I used to live. And like Stu said, there's been a few mystery shopping reports that have really been great out there, but the ones that are bad are real bad. So my grade this morning is going to be an A for Cochran Toyota. I really like the idea that the car was right there on the lot. I like the discounts and a few other things that made my grade an A.
Yeah, I agree.
You look like a rapper.
If we had a separate curve for Pennsylvania, but we don't, and I think I'm going to go with a B plus. I almost want to give them A. It's just that's a good place to buy a car.
Oh, you took them down.
We were all doing what our dear leader was doing. So,
yeah, my right ear started to ache.
Okay.
Oh no.
And also, just if you're listening and you're not in the greater Pittsburgh area, I've been up there a few times. It's not hard to drive across the state. If you're in Philadelphia or you're like somewhere in another metro area where they're still doing those crazy markups, a drive over to the exurbs of Pittsburgh might save you a lot of money. Certainly saved our shopper. We're being shot by something. I think you're creating feedback. Yeah, you can travel. It's not that far. You can make it over to what's the name of the town?
They're pretty close. For Cochrane.
Yeah,
Cochrane was North Huntington in Westmoreland County.
Yeah, heck, if you're in.
And it's there's I think the population there is like 4,000 people or less, you know, and it's not that very far from Pittsburgh.
There you go.
Okay, so there you have it. Rick, do you have anything for us?
We're caught up here.
Okay.
Let me remind you here,
Jonathan?
because we do these mystery shopping reports. We always go with the dealership. Our recommendation is shave your shoe leather and your gas driving around town. Online is the only way to go. And if you're not an online kind of a person, find a son or a daughter or a friend or somebody that's online, because you're really wasting your time. It's just, you get yourself all upset going head to head with these car dealers, and you can do it all online. And the nice thing about that is you can do, instead of shopping 3 dealers, like we say, never buy, or for that matter, get a major repair without at least three prices. When you're online buying, you could get 20 prices. I mean, you could go to a dealer in a 100-mile radius, and you might say, I'm not going to drive 100 miles to buy a car. Well, you might drive 100 miles if you could save $1,000. So just think about it. You want to buy a Chevrolet, you go out to 25 Chevrolet dealers online, and you hone your email expertise, your telephone expertise. You get yourself a special email address so they can't hound you to death when you deal with an email. You don't give them your real phone number, and you can sit back and just get a hell of a price on a car.
Here's a cool little feature. I don't know if everybody knows about it. If you have an iPhone, iPhone will, when you fill out a form, anytime there's a form on a website, ask for your email address. You have the option, you can put your email address in, or you can use a function. It's called Hide My Email. And it pops up on those forums, and it works on car dealers' websites too. So you don't have to go and create a free email account, which does take some time, and that's not that easy to do. But you hit Hide My Email, Apple will make up an email address for you on the spot and forward it to you. And then the moment that you get tired of getting emails from these people, you just hit a button, and
I didn't know that. That's a great idea.
It will never be forwarded to you. It's called Hide My Email, and it happens automatic. Go to a website, and any website that calls for email, it'll give you that option. Wow. It's pretty cool. I use it all the time. The only downside is if you'll forget what those email addresses are, but they're stored on the phone. You can find them, so you don't have to write them down or anything.
Well, you make it clear when you go out for bid that you want an out-the-door price, and if you don't get the out-the-door price, then you'll never hear from me again. If you give me the outdoor price, I will shop and compare it, and if you have the lowest price, I will buy the car from you.
I'm a ghost or
Maybe
not,
we'll have-
it's up to you.
That's
just
where
a
they're
thought.
mentioning right now. Earlier this week, a friend sent that email over
Oh, that was USA
And
Today,
that's the
on
fees
this very subject.
that he
yeah.
shared with you.
What's that?
The fees that he had shared with you that you said you wanted to discuss.
Yeah, well, everybody's onto it now. You know, when USA Today comes out, and the more publicity. I mean, we've been the voice in the wilderness shouting about junk fees for 20 years, and it's good that some of the major publications and even TV are talking about it now. Everybody's on junk fees. Unfortunately, they're attacking hotel chains. They're attacking rental car companies, and they're not going directly after the dealership. But junk fee, the reason we changed our name, our reference to dealer fees is because junk fee is perfect, and that's what dealer fees are. They're junk fees. So I think it's only a matter of time before people will be aware of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So many credit cards, airlines.
Yeah, everybody does it.
It makes car dealers look practically, not greedy.
Yeah, and the reason they exist is because the lobbying. I talk about the National Automobile Dealers Association, the state associations, even local associations. They have a Miami association, a Tampa association in Florida. So all these associations are just fund gatherers from dealers, and they are putting the money to get the people elected that will let them continue to do what they're doing. So that's the reason the travel companies are getting away with it, and the reason the rental car companies are getting away with it is because they're not prosecuted. They're not, the regulators leave them alone.
But I'm feeling a change coming.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. A special thank you to Agent Lightning for the great work that she does week in and week out on our mystery shopping reports. And again, we want to, welcome Stu back to the show. And also, don't forget Layla. Layla is waiting for you to take a look at her, and you can do that at BigDogRanchRescue.org. You can take a look at all the dogs out there, and most importantly, as Stu mentioned earlier, all the fees are paid, and that makes it more affordable to you to rescue these beautiful dogs that are out there. And you can even, when you adopt, or you can what was that? Foster.
Oh, yeah.
I was speechless there for a second. And I see by the clock that we have just about 5 minutes left. So I'm going to switch the mic over to the recovering car dealer. We collected a lot of information this morning, and maybe you want to share that with the audience.
Well, I don't know how many folks out there are in the market for an electric vehicle. And I hate to, because Nancy and I have a Tesla. She just told me we've had it for 2 years now. Doesn't seem that long. But if you haven't considered an electric vehicle, right now, Tesla, and I'm not doing a commercial for Tesla, but we happen to love the vehicle. A lot of people love the vehicle, and they're dominating the market. It's become a political thing, and a lot of people, either hate or love Elon Musk and talk about that. But the fact of the matter is, they have cars in a full range of pricing right now. If you're going to buy a new vehicle, at least drive one. Go to a Tesla dealership. They're not dealerships as we know dealerships. They're owned by the manufacturer. You're treated royally in a Tesla dealership. There's no pressure. The salespeople are not on commission. There's no rush to buy. You're going to have to probably order the car, although they do have some available in stock, and test drive the car.
They were really great out there, and it wasn't. We didn't even get home, and I had already received an email from them, and they were very informed. There was no pressure, and I could take whatever Tesla they had available. Down in, I believe the location was West Palm Beach. I don't think it was Riviera Beach. But I could test drive the vehicle if I wanted.
Yeah, I just got through telling people or advising people, don't go into a dealership. If you're going to buy an electric vehicle, and it isn't just Tesla, but the electric vehicles are sold directly by the manufacturers. In our experience, shopping Tesla and Lucid, and who else have we tested electric vehicles? I think another.
Rivian.
Oh, yeah, Rivian. And you're treated like you should be treated. It's like you go into an Apple store, or you go into Target, or you go into Costco. They treat you with respect and courtesy. There's no pressure. And they give you the out-the-door price, and they encourage you to shop and compare. So even if you don't want an EV, go into an EV dealer just to find out how you should be treated when you go into a car dealership.
Yeah, it's altogether different approach in purchasing, a Tesla, or if you want to lease, which is the best way to go. Rick? Oh, I thought you had your hand up.
I just thought, for a dealership in Pennsylvania, though, wouldn't it almost make sense if you could fly there for a reasonably low price, get a ride over to the dealership, you pick up your car.
They'd probably pick you up.
And turn it into a little vacation there you got Hershey, Pennsylvania, you got the Lancaster County area that's a beautiful area to visit, and then take a nice leisurely drive back home, getting used to your new car.
Yeah, even in North Huntington, in Westmoreland County,
Yeah.
there's so much to see there. Even though it is a small town, the museums are beautiful, and you always take an event and turn it into a vacation when you're on the road.
Why not? You know,
Yeah, you do that a lot.
live life and enjoy it.
You make it sound like a whole lot of fun. Folks, I hope you had a whole lot of fun. We enjoyed your company. You're a big part of the show. And without you, we wouldn't be here. I want to thank you. All of us want to thank you and to wish you a very nice weekend. We'll be right back here next week, same time, 8 a.m. Enjoy your weekend.